Hey, what's up you guys? This is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Quick Draw, we're going to take a look at the silent and deadly Torid. So recently the Torid's gotten a very sexy, yet still quite disgusting, visual and audio upgrade. For those of you who are newer to the game, the Torid used to look like a shoebox held together by rubber bands, and now looks like the jaws of a mutated prehistoric alligator. Now pre-damage 2.0, the Torid's innate toxin damage was a beast, ignoring armor and shields and letting noxious fumes consume its targets. It was good enough for me to forma 6 times over. The question is, how does it hold up after the damage revamp? The Torid's blueprints are exclusively available in the infested biochem lab in the clan dojo, provided that you've completed the appropriate research. Its more notable components include 2 mutagen masses and 1 forma. Also, be aware that it does have a mastery rank 4 requirement. The Torid's base damage is innately toxin, which is great for bypassing corpus shields and can be combined into corrosive or viral elemental combos versus the Grineer, or the gas elemental combo versus the infested. So for those of you who have never used a Torid before, it's an infested-themed grenade launcher. Its projectiles deal damage and explode upon impact, releasing a toxic gas that deals additional damage over time to all enemies in a 3-meter range. Note that these gas clouds stick to walls, floors, ceilings, players, and enemies, dealing damage every second for 10 seconds, and most importantly, the gas clouds do stack. But not only do they stack, they also have a chance to proc elemental statuses every second they tick. My personal favorite is the radiation status, which causes a squad to turn on itself, and more often than not end up fighting in the gas clouds, dealing more damage to the squad over time, and causing more radiation procs to go off. I've also tested this with the blast elemental combo that procs a small area of effect knockdown, which can potentially stun a squad and lock them down within the fumes. It's not the most effective elemental combo, but it's definitely fun to watch. Now while all this sounds amazing, the Torid definitely has some severe mechanical downfalls. First and foremost, its projectiles do have a slower than normal travel time as well as a traditional drop-off. And personally, I don't know if this is a bug, but for one reason or another, its accuracy seems to dissolve into nothingness when equipping heavy caliber, dropping down from 100 to an atrocious 3.4 when a rank 8 heavy caliber is installed. Now I've put this on other weapons and haven't had an accuracy rating drop off that dramatically. To top that all off, it's got a tiny magazine, a slow reload, and an even slower fire rate, both of which I recommend modding for. Now the question here is, does the good end up balancing out the bad? In my opinion, only if you're willing to put in some work. And speaking of putting in work, let's get to the gay factor. Now, when I thought about how much work I had to put into my Torid to get it to a point where I really enjoyed it, the first thing that came to mind was sex. And no, I wasn't thinking about how sex can be disease-ridden, infecting you and eating away at your insides, resulting in your imminent death. I was just reminded of how awkward it was in the beginning, how the mechanics were a bit off, and how cool everyone else looked when they were using theirs. I mean, the Torid straight out of the gate isn't the greatest. It's slow and hard to get your rhythm when you're trying to fire it off. But over time, the more forma you put into it, the better it feels. Each one you put in just makes it more fun, and eventually your little balls are exploding all over the battlefield and you're taking on groups like a champ, and you decide to make a video and upload it onto the net for everyone to see and create a channel with a name that was meant to be completely innocent, but some people still can't get the fuck over. There's a story of my life. Now, let's get back to the quick draw. So all in all, I quite enjoy the Torid, but I wholeheartedly admit that it's definitely an investment, and I couldn't picture using it with any less than the amount of forma that I've got in it now, especially because I feel like it's a necessity to mod against its poor fire rate and reload speed. But once you've got it up and running, the good parts of its mechanics really begin to shine, especially when coupled with CC like Vortex, Molt, Decoy, and even a well-placed wormhole can turn into a door of gassy death. So while I was willing to put in the effort, I'll leave it up to the rest of you to decide whether it's worth your time. So thank you all for watching another episode of the Quick Draw. For those of you who've been playing around with the Torid, let me know about any entertaining elemental combos that you're using on this. Don't forget to do the thing that I ask you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, be sure to stay tuned for more disease-ridden content here at A Gay Guy Plays. Now the proto-skin armor is sexy as fuck, but can anyone tell me why they gave Excalibur a pancake booty?